I didn't mean to hit the live button. I went live too early. Trying to get my camera adjusted right to the right brightness. So, sorry guys. Welcome back to Blur's Craft. I'm Blur's. I'm gonna do some more work on this thing. I'm gonna make the yellow I want to use. I'm gonna get some yellow on here. I'm gonna go ahead and do it on this brown palette. We're gonna just try to crank out the last bits of this real quick. I did get a couple other pieces primed earlier, and we'll check that out before I end this video. Carve this out just a little bit so you can see my palette. You can see that. So yes, I am just mixing this yellow and this yellow ochre. Adding some water, getting it to the right consistency. Trying to break down the bigger chunks of paint and get it all mixed to the same consistency. You can kind of, I've noticed if you can kind of do that with the oil paints in the beginning, you can thin them down more a lot easier. Later, like you can add a little bit more water to it and all that, but perfect. And I am going to try to be a little bit careful with this. It's kind of a bright color in comparison to, or it's very warm color in comparison to the cool blue and cool green I've done. So if I get it on the blue or green, it's going to stand out quite a bit. So just got to be careful. Don't have to get too crazy with it, and if I do want to get into some, move that palette just a little closer. If I do need to get into a little bit more of a details base, I'll just grab a smaller brush. I got this small brush, I'll go ahead and do this pipe too. And again, I'll clean a lot of this up with I'll clean a lot of this up with the oil wash at the end. So it can be, I don't have to worry about being like super perfect about everything, but this is a color that I am going to be a little bit more careful with It's also why I try to do whatever is the main color I'm using, like most surface space first. Try to hit all these pipes coming down here. And I might try to do a bit of an oil wash on a couple of the other pieces in this video towards the end. I might try to do that, but trying to catch all these little pipes. This bright yellow, this kind of detailing is always a little bit more. This kind of detailing is always a little bit more time consuming. Again, using this oil-like paint. It's actually a water-based or water-soluble oil, which I don't understand how that works, but it pretty much works like oil paints. So it definitely makes the shading step of all of this a lot easier. As you can see, I'm still just hitting up this yellow. Try not to mess it up with my hand too much, because the blue and the red and everything are still wet. So you do have to be like a little bit more careful. The dry time is way longer, so you have to be aware of that while you're working on it, because it will get quite messy for you, like I just did there. I don't know if you saw what I did. I got yellow all over this corner when I was doing that pipe, and I just kind of brushed it together. Rinsed my brush and then blended it in, because that red is still wet, basically. So, and like I said, I made that brown red using a little bit of one of the colors that I'm using here, using a limited palette, and making the brown yourself out of the limited palette colors means that any color I get on there I can blend in and it will match, because there's all the colors in this palette already in there. So I'm mean, don't get me wrong, it might not look the best, but it would match, sort of. Oh, messed up again right there a little bit, so I'm gonna go back and see if I can blend it out a little bit. No problem, fixed it. On to the next thing. Trying to get all these wires hit first. Wires and pipes. Totally dropped a big old blob of yellow. See it right down here. Unfortunately, these two aren't going to blend so well together, the blue and the yellow, but it's okay because I don't think the blue in my palette is quite dry, so do a little bit of that to fix it. Just put a weird highlight kind of on that post just to get rid of the yellow blob I accidentally dripped down there. again, I will wash this all with black oil wash. So the little mistakes will easily be hidden. Easy. Pipes, wires. Got another one running over here. I'm going to use a slightly bigger brush now. Just gonna coat this whole piece with yellow. This whole thing with yellow too. Definitely a difficult area to paint right back in here. I do not know what I was thinking when I built this. Probably just how cool it looked. But that's okay. We'll just put extra oil wash down in the spaces that I can't reach. So alright, well that yellow is looking pretty good in here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest of it up on this. And then we're going to shade it. And we're going to probably let this one dry completely before we mess with it again, because all I really have to do is work a brown into it, and do the oil wash on that whole thing. So like I said before, I might eventually come back with some regular acrylics and add little details, maybe some blood splatter, some posters, that type of thing. I do want to build some more scatter terrain, Micromunda style. That's definitely on the list. I have some walkways built, so a few, at least 5 of them. 5 of them all the same length, so I need to build more variety. I need some shorter ones and I need some longer ones. So that's gonna happen too. But this is looking pretty good. I just want to shade this, highlight this yellow up now. To do that, I'm just going to use some white, and I'm going to put a little bit more yellow ochre in there just to be my dark tone, since I basically used up most of the yellow I mixed. So we're gonna mix ourselves a mid-tone, and again, our light is coming from this corner, so we're just gonna hit everything like if our paintbrush was, that's my way of kind of imagining it. If my paintbrush was like a ray of light from the source, then I kind of just try to keep the paintbrush at the same angle and hit everything, you know, kind of like in that angle. And if I can't hit it because my paintbrush is hitting something else, that means that the light wouldn't be hitting it. So it's just a kind of an easy technique. I will go a little bit beyond that and push some of this medium into places where it might not actually hit, just to add a little bit of variation to the things that are yellow. But I won't push this highlight any further, whereas on the other side where the light is actually hitting, I will push that highlight quite a bit further. So oh, Campaign Terrain, good to see you, bud. Yeah, I was gone all weekend, so I didn't stream any. And I am also kind of like not having a schedule streaming. I'm just doing it whenever, so it kind of makes it a little bit more special for when people do drop in. It's a little bit more chaotic. I kind of like it, to be honest with you. So now I'm going to mix up an even lighter tone, and I'm definitely going to stick with that painting from an angle. Thanks, Eric. Thank you. The colors are very bright, but they will be toned down, like I said, when black wash, but I kind of like it. For some reason, it has a very saturated cyberpunk feel for me, and I don't know. I'm digging it. So. Blam, it's pretty easy. I don't really need to highlight anymore. This whole backside is supposed to be a little bit more dim, but this highlight is good here. So I think we're actually pretty good there, and I think this one just needs to sit. I want to put a little yellow on this real quick. I forgot about this guy. It's not this elevator really. Is that what the dehumidifier tube? Are you thinking this thing? Because I don't know if I use a dehumidifier tube on this. Oh, there is like medical tubing, like oxygen tubing. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, it's not that this elevator needs more detail, but breaking up that solid color definitely helps. Definitely helps. So, yeah. Stick that back on there, and then I think I might try to just give these ropes cables a little color. I know it's not the same yellow that I was using. It's kind of a different mix at this point, but that's fine. At least it's something to pull it away from that blue color. Which hose? Which hose are you guys talking about? This one? Or these ones? This one right here? That's the one, huh? Because that's like medical hosing or some crap. What was I doing? Oh yeah, I was painting these. Tub. This? I think that was a microwave dinner. I honestly, the first. This? I feel like those are the only tubs I used. Pink, pink. Oh, that side, and that side. Maybe? That's a hydrogen peroxide bottle. It's a microwave dinner. Microwave enchilada container. One of those like splice your own plugs. Really? Maybe that's actually what it is. To be honest with you, I just assumed it was like, you know, a cheese enchilada bowl or something that you microwaved, but it could be that. I found like 12 of them in a box in when I cleaned up everything. Kind of a hoarding situation that I cleaned up a little bit. So there was like a giant TV box filled with Folgers, plastic Folgers coffee cups, cat food tins. There was like 50 cat food tins. So yeah. But I do think it came out great on the side of something like that as a side platform. And I really like it popping in with the yellow against the green. It's pretty nice. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and pause on this one and let it dry for a little bit. Still got about half hour left of this stream. So I'm gonna go set this on the dehumidifier, and then we'll take a look at the two that I just primed. I like the way that they came out. So I primed this one this morning. Let's see. It's not helping, is it? And I tried to do a transition between like the green, the teal, the neon green into the magenta, and I really like how it came out. It like has a very steampunk, or not steampunk, cyberpunk right there. Like when I go from this, or wait, when I go from that blue around to this magenta, I'm digging it. And so I primed that one and I primed this one. I did both of them similar, and actually, like I was talking to a couple other people about it, and it definitely doesn't need very much more. Like you could just touch up some details on this and do an oil wash, and it would honestly, I'd love to play on just that. You don't have to go through and paint it half as much as I'm doing, but so I'm gonna go ahead and put some oil wash on this, I think, and maybe these as well. This time we're going to use like actual oil, but I am running low on mineral spirits or white spirits. So I might have to take a break from oil washing and let that build up a little bit until I can get some more mineral spirits. But so this is where the light is coming from. So I'm going to start my oil wash on the opposite corner, just because most of the time when I first start the oil wash, it can be a little bit darker than I intend to. So if I am aware of where I'm putting the darker, that I'm putting it on the darker side, it won't I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't start on the side that the light is coming from, because I might dull that down way too much. So okay. Don't know if you can tell the difference, but this is a pretty dark oil wash. That is fine by me. I'm just going to try to be conservative with it because I'm running low on mineral spirits. You can always like soak up some of the excess from one side. Bring it over to the other side. Like I said, I'm going to have to be a little bit more sparing with this because I don't have any more mineral spirits, and I got a lot of things to wash. So take this off so I can work around it a little bit. Basically keep washing it until you either can't stand the smell of the mineral spirits anymore, or you've got it completely covered. And you can see what I was saying about this side going to be darker, because that's whenever I first mix oil wash, I found that it always starts out real dark. I mean, it doesn't always start out real dark, but there's a tendency to accidentally have excess paint on your paintbrush because you're, mixing the oil with the mineral spirits and not realizing it and doing a big smear of black oil paint. That also obviously doesn't count if you aren't mixing the oil wash right then and there. get to whatever I can obviously get to. It is always smarter to start and work your way down, because it's a wash that's going to drip down. I obviously didn't do that, but kind of did. I started at the top, the highest point up here, but great thing about the oil wash too is it's so flowing that it's not like a pain to get anywhere. Now that I'm doing this side, I am just going to try to be careful not to accidentally put too much. This one has a lot of surface space. I did not even realize. Who built this thing? It's crazy. Now I got to do this whole floor. Then sometimes you want to find that little clump of darker paint, that little clump of oil paint that hasn't been completely mixed into the mineral spirits, because then you can like really darken up an area. So sometimes I leave things like just in their zenithal state. I don't paint them with anything else, and I do like a really heavy black oil wash on them, and it kind of turns them a grimy gray. And it's very easy, and it achieves the goal pretty simply. So in the bottom of the barrel with the oil wash. But I think I'll have enough to finish this at least. Alright, so now before I use it all, grab this like mucky yellow one too. This will just add a variation in the oil washes. Add some more earthy tone back down into it. I don't really like the way that the brown came out on this. I feel like it is a little lackluster, so we'll probably have to go over that again. That is completely fine, but I think we're looking good here. It is a little bit early for my normally for logging off here, but it's getting close to an unexpected cutoff, an unforeseen cutoff. But we're looking good. I think that I'm gonna go ahead and call this video tonight. I'll be on tomorrow morning again, probably around 7. Thanks all of you for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you next time on Bluerscraft.